And that's right, folks. Once again, we'd love to say welcome. Welcome to another exciting edition of the program, Ashford Garley Live on British Radio Africa. Today is, in fact, Wednesday, ladies' night, the 4th of January, 2023. Oh, man. First off, as always, Father God, in the name of Jesus, we ask for wisdom. We ask for divine strength. We ask that you speak through us to your people tonight for the very successful program. We want to give you praise, we give you honor, we magnify your name. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Some heard the name, some heard people talk about him. You've gotten the opportunity tonight. This is yours truly. Others call him the mastermind, the doctor of love, Africa's media doobie-doo extraordinaire, the golden voice of Liberia, the medicine of the microphone, the broadcast commissioner. Ashford the Giant, and now you know me, Garley. Welcome. We'll also have with us tonight Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts, co-host of Ashford Garley Live. Letty, hello, welcome to the show, please.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Garley. How are you?
I'm better than good, better than most. To God be the glory.
Awesome, awesome. Happy New Year.
Yeah, wish you the same.
Thank you. We pray for good health, prosperity, good, good, good tidings, good, a lot of peace and joy, and
That's
we
right.
also pray for a safe world, a peaceful world. Most importantly, we pray for a great election, free and fair, and we can find a new leader. Well, we can start our show this evening. Want to say good evening to everyone. Welcome to another exciting Wednesday edition of Bridge Radio Africa with your host, Ashford, the Giant Garley. We are coming live to you tonight from Bridge Radio Television and Bridge Radio YouTube channel. Please do follow us on Instagram at bridgeradioafrica.com. As we begin our show, we ask you to please grab your drink or meal of choice. Make yourselves comfortable. We ask you to please share the show. I am your co-host, Letty Brooks Roberts. Here are a few house rules. Please be respectful of each other. Please be respectful of our host. And please be respectful of our guests. What you say is just as important as what you write. So please be respectful as to what you write. We ask you to please support the show through our Cash App and our Zelle account. Every little drop in the bucket makes an ocean. Thank you for coming live. Here he is, Ashford, the Giant Garley.
Thank you,
Back to
Mrs.
you.
Roberts. And as always, we'd like to say hi to our very, very loyal viewers tonight. I see Cole Gloria Vocal Mulba. She's in the building. I also see Martina Neno, Eugene Jala, Sylvester Wadi Constance out of Damascus, Syria. Mr. James Cohen is also in the building tonight. And folks, shortly we're going to be having four panelists. We have Jay Rennie Doppel. We'll also have for Bala Keman and the Reverend Idatus Ade, and then Mrs. Edith Gonglo Ware. Those are our panelists for the night. And folks, just in case anyone out there is celebrating his or her birthday today, I'd like to say congratulations. And let us show hope that you live to see many, many more birthdays to come. Birthday comes once a year, and it is time to celebrate when your time reaches. Uh, I just had mine. Let's when is your birthday?
My birthday is in the spring, April to be exact.
April 7th, huh?
Oh,
Is that April 7th?
something like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
you share the same birthday with my late mother. Yeah. Lucky
Okay.
you. Yeah, lucky you. It's good. Okay, Bob K. Bowler Jr. is in the building. And
Welcome, Bob.
yeah, Bob is here. It's been a minute. It's very hard to catch Bob on the phone, I don't know what he's been up to these days. Okay, let's see if we can bring in Jay Renning. Is he dear? Jay Renning Doppel is on here tonight. My man, happy New Year. Every day I New Year. Happy New Year again.
Every day I New Year, not anymore.
Uh,
Happy New Year to our sister Letty, and I wish every one of you guys on the platform and all your audience and all Liberians, people of the world, a prosperous New Year. We look forward to a successful year, and thank you
Thank you,
again.
Randy.
You're
Thank
welcome. Thank you, Ashford, as always, to invite me to be a part of this platform. I'm very, very pleased and happy to be here again. Thank you so much.
yeah, tonight, as we wait to see the other people come out tonight, I think we can just go straight into it. And those that will come, they'll pay some type of fun tonight. I think you got a hint. So you were here on time tonight.
Well, I got a memo. To get people working is to go after the financial burden, the financial means. Yes, you're getting coming. I got that experience.
Okay, now we want to begin uh, talking about the successes of President Weah and some of the missed opportunities during his first term. We are in the election year now, so since running is in fact a long year tonight, we'll question a little bit until the other guys come in. Well, let us begin with healthcare. Uh, let us talk about the healthcare delivery system. Some people argue that the healthcare system lacks human resource capacity, lack equipment, drugs, poor infrastructure, uh, lack resources for basic services, uh, and depends heavily on partners. When we talk about the healthcare delivery system in Liberia, what comes to mind? Let us hear from you, Randy.
Yeah, I think first of all, from the get-go, the healthcare system in our country, and I don't want to limit it just to delivery system, unless you just trying to look at the entire structure, and I will speak to that. Our country, since the beginning and since my time knowing myself as a Liberian, I think we have struggled over the years of actually trying to establish a healthcare system in the country that will provide different deliverable or delivery services across the 15 counties. And throughout the times in post-war Liberia, we have not really made a tremendous success or effort in our perspective. However, when we look at how each administration managed to put in place some medical community and other medical or facility that cater to the health of our people, I will say, as far as the WEAH administration go, when you look at what he has improved upon, because this is an incremental order in terms of improvement. Nobody trying to reinvent the wheel here. The GFK has been revitalized to meet some of the missing indicators that weren't there, aside from what Eddie added there. Mr. Weah has added some on there as well. And then when you look at the military hospital, that was in existence. And that military hospital, from my understanding, is not only going to cater primarily to member of the GI, that is the government issue, or the military family. It's my understanding that it's going to be providing services to other as well. And then the Jacksonville Hospital in Nema County, it was built by Elling, and Mr. We are continuing to provide some medical supplies and other capacity of logistics. And then of course, they just recently opened hospital in Bapuru County, the Emory Hospital. So for me, as for these things, as we know it, after the war, we have broken down infrastructure, limited human capacity. So when I see this thing trying to build itself through the president administration, I see that as a progress. Yes, that's how I see that. So in terms of the delivery system, the government is making progress. Are they there yet? No. But the wheel is turning. Whether it's turning slowly, the fact that it is turning, and that's something that I think many people should be happy about. I can hear you, Gary.
Do you still see this as the government making progress? Those who can afford, when they fall sick, they leave the country. They go and seek medical attention abroad. Or the common person will stay in Liberia. You mentioned the JFK. You talked about some improvement being done at the JFK. You also talked about the 14 Military Hospital, and then you talk about the Jackson F. Doe Hospital in Nema County, and lastly you talk about the newly renovated hospital in Bapulu. Are, are these just structures? I mean,
No,
go ahead.
yes. The people, the people who live within the geography of the hospital, I think it would be a fair, balanced report to have investigative journalists, member of the opposition, to visit the Bureau hospital that have been uh, dedicated by the president. That will give a clear-cut perspective of what we have seen. But what I'm trying to bring here is whether it's the Jackson F. Doe Hospital that Ellie dedicated and built, whether it's the Emory Hospital or the improvement of JFK, those are things that weren't there in post-war Liberia. And some of those structures were not even established since the history of our country. So as far as the meeting the performance standard, meeting the expectation of people who visit there, I would say progress is being made. Yes. And as far as government officials traveling out of the country, I think it would be unfair to just discuss this issue based on the executive alone. Why? Because we have the national legislature of Liberia that include both opposition, position, and independence. These guys were elected by district and county. The question for me here is, Brother Ashford, what have been their vision? What have been their priority? If you ask, for example, Darius Dillon, give me 3 priority areas as a senator that is a concern for you in your county. Is it agriculture? Is it health? Is it education? The lawmaker supposed to be the one creating the check and balance. If the president is going to dedicate a hospital or even think about building a hospital, they should be able to reach out to their constituent, their district, and their county to ensure that whatever needed to be in our hospital, what are they doing to ensure that the expectations are met? And I think when we discuss this thing with an inclusive discussion, looking at what the executive can do and has been doing, and what the lawmaker are to check, and I mean to create a check and balance in the system, I think it will help because they are the lawmaker. They confirm this minister who the president's, I mean the official that the president sent to them. They qualify them. So if for some reason, for example, if they are not meeting what you are concerned about, I think prior to the guy getting in there, they should also be able to provide their vision to the public for us to see. So I put it
Well,
there.
Mr. Adolphus Benjamin Jacobs lives and breathes Liberia. Uh, he knows everything about that country, from education to healthcare. Let's see if he agrees with you. You are saying, Randy, that overall the healthcare system under George Weah have made progress,
No,
correct?
not have made. It is making progress.
Making progress. And let's see what Benjamin thinks. Mr. Jacobs?
Well, when it comes to the healthcare, I really, I really won't say much, but I do know that there are serious challenges. As for the progress being made, I know the 14 military hospital had impact on people who were um, people who had a COVID. I think there were progress made in terms of hospitalization, and but overall, um, I don't know what's much progress being made besides that, and but not much uh, that I can point to in terms of healthcare. Again, there might be progress, but I can't be definite about it. But I know there were people who were hospitalized at 14 military and they got treated. That is positive because the hospitals were overwhelmed. JFK could not take people. I think the 14 military came on board on time as far as that concerned. So yeah, as far as the other healthcare facilities are concerned in terms of healthcare delivery, speak from pretty much not just the Monrovia cluster, where you look into the River G, where I'm from, to be precise, in the District 1 area, the Kawikan, Boipo, Chilepo, Tiempo area, all those sides, and nothing there called drug administration in terms of actual delivery. So it depends on what part of the country you speak from. So yeah, again, it may not necessarily be from this government, but it's an extensive government issue from time to time. So, but much progress being made, I can't speak to that, and I can't say there was not much progress. But I know for facts of these little things that I talk about. I got treated in 2019, early part 2019 at EW Hospital. I had a surgery for the first time in my life. So my personal experience tells me that we have serious challenges there. In 2019, I was hospitalized at EW Hospital for about 3 weeks, uh, and it was terrible. To even get admitted in the hospital at my status with so much in terms of cash available, but not on me because I drove myself to the hospital. I couldn't get taken care of until I had to send back for money to bring the money for me to get charged. I mean, for me to pay for the room available, the staff ward. And after payment was made before I was live into the hospital. So I spent almost 1 hour in the ambulance waiting. And in fact, for the ambulance to take me, I had to put gas in it to transport me from SOS to EAWA, that kind of stuff. And at my status at the time, if I had to go through that and spend that much money just to get the rooms ready for me, I imagine how many people fall short. They stay in the taxis and the ambulance can carry them and and they lost their life. I mean, if I have been treated well without any payment, you could easily keep me in the hospital until payments are made before you discharge. Why not treat people as per the nurse's creed? Treat when they come into the hospital. After that, you can start talking money, but you talk money to the doorsteps So people are not easily admitted. I think that one of the things the policy got to do in terms of actual delivery. And if it's happening in the private hospital, imagine what happened in the public sector hospitals.
Thank
And
you.
that's why most of our people take off to go other countries, because what we have is a total chaos. And so, yeah, again, I'm not definite, Gali, in terms of saying that I've even been progress or much progress made or less progress not made. I don't want to be unfair to this government or the one before it.
Well, Mrs. Gonglu, Edith Gonglu, where we are looking at the scorecard of President Weir's first term, and we started off with healthcare. Uh, this is guy who lost his mother, and this guy goes for dialysis 3 times a week. He couldn't go to Liberia to see his mother buried. Renin Dapo is on here tonight telling British Radio and the rest of the world that under George Weah administration, they are making progress in terms of the healthcare system. What is your take?
Thank you so much, and Happy New Year again to everyone. Is this the same Jacobs that I know?
That's him.
Okay. Hi, Adolphus.
Hi, Edith. How are
It's
you?
been a long time. Good to
I
see
know
you.
it's been a while.
Are you here in the States with us, or you're in
Yes, I
Liberia?
am.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. In Pennsylvania. Sorry,
that's
guys.
correct. That's correct. Yes, I'm fine. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay. Nice meeting you again.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Edith.
anyway, this is an interesting topic. Looking at the scorecard of the current leadership, the George Weah led government. And I like where you started, healthcare. I would be unfair, just like the previous speaker has said, to shift or put all of the blames on President Weah. However, the sitting government, no matter what your predecessors have done, governments are instituted for the safety, security, enjoyment, and just, for the happiness of the citizens of the country. And so, healthcare being one of the major or one of the critical issues of a nation, a healthy nation is a productive nation. An unhealthy nation is an unproductive and underdeveloped nation. And so healthcare goes in line with development as well. Has this government done well? Certainly not. I would really give this government, in my mind, to be on the fair side, I would give them 60%. And the 60%, which is almost a passing grade for them in any sector, is because they've managed to put some physical structures up. But physical structures don't constitute health at all. Health has to be holistic. If you want to measure health, a health of a nation, you take into consideration mental health, you take into consideration the economic health, and then the physical health, and all of that. So health is not just the actual sickness or the actual curing of the illness of a person. And even that, it is not happening because there is so much low morale throughout the workforce of the country. And when there is low morale, productivity is challenged. Why would a healthcare professional, a nurse who has not taken pay for 2 months, 3 months, what kind of health services would they deliver to their patients? Because they're already traumatized, they're disgruntled, they are, angry just by their own condition. So this government has not done well in healthcare. They've made one or two, constructions here and there. I often hear them talk about 14 military hospital or the Bapulu hospital. But come on, the structures may look beautiful, but are there places that people go and get full treatment? Do they have that? Today, Liberian officials have become medical tourists. They go to Ghana, the Ghanaian health system has been overwhelmed for the past 4 or 5 years. Every minister of government or, official of government goes to Ghana for health treatment, or they go to India. There's another place of our medical tourism. They go to India. The ordinary man does not have money to even transport themselves from their house to the hospital, let alone get plane fare. So I think it is really unfair to the 98% of the country, the citizens, because our government officials, not just employees, but officials, constitute less than 1% of our total population. And it is that less than 1% that gets to get, full healthcare service delivery out of the country. So I think this government has really not done well in terms of healthcare. Nurses are not paid. Training that should happen every year is not happening. The Ministry of Health has the National Health Plan, beautiful document. I participated in a project led by Maestra International. It's an international child welfare organization. And we developed a very beautiful guidelines, child welfare guidelines. It has taken dust at the Ministry of Health. Those protocols that were listed in our guidelines have never been implemented at the national level since 2014. So our healthcare system is really challenged and continues to get worse and worse under this administration.
Okay. Well, Mrs. Ware, I remember during the COVID, we all know that the healthcare system is a little challenged, but don't you think there was enough done in terms of educating the practitioners that were working to make sure that the people don't contract COVID? I mean, the education system going on just to guide them. If you noticed, Liberia was not highly hit in terms of the COVID.
Come on. Ashford, I was in Liberia during the COVID. Remember, I participated in the 2020 election. I went to Liberia 2019. In fact, I came back and I left this country March, I believe February or March of 2020. By the time I got to Liberia, COVID had spread so much in America that, airlines were shutting down and stuff like that. So I experienced the entire COVID period in Liberia. All of us we did our own individual education based on what people were reading on the internet, because remember, COVID was a strange disease. Even developed countries could not cope with it. I will not credit our government for the blessing that Liberia got. Mind you, I always joke and say, look, malaria tired with us, what can COVID do to us? Because Liberians are noted for self-treatment. So by the time you get COVID, malaria, or you get malaria symptoms, you self-prescribe and self-treat. You run to the drugstore. Oh, I need this antibiotic. I need this other one. I need that one. And then you start to take even before it takes full control. So I think that action of self-treatment and self-diagnosis kind of play a significant role in ensuring the low level of death, toward that we saw in Liberia. I was sick at one point, and I bet I had COVID because I had all of the symptoms. But before long, I started treating myself. We had the azithromycin in Liberia, and stronger strength. You just walk to any drugstore and buy azithromycin, and you buy your cetirizine, you buy this and you buy that, along with all the different fever medication, whether it is good or not. But under the condition where you don't have a hospital or clinic that is prepared with good medicines and trained, healthy workforce, people take matters into their own hands like they do in many sectors. And this was happening within the health sector. I lived it, I experienced it.
Okay, when bringing Mr. Bala Kema was on last
Son, I need your number because I want to talk to you.
But
My,
she
my
needs.
number?
Yeah, of course. You're my son
Okay.
now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, anybody who can call me that song, that person got a co-driver for me. So you're not starting now. You take trouble.
Brother, we're talking about progress made in the first term of President Weah, and we started off with healthcare, the healthcare system, healthcare delivery system in Liberia. We heard from about Jacobs, Dapo, Mrs. Weah. What is your take?
Good precious evening to all of my people. I apologize once again for being late. My Oma, you called me your son, but you really disappointed me as you try to explain your way around everything else but congratulating this president for what he has done. Of course, just like the host said, the healthcare system in Liberia is very challenged. We know that, but you kind of misrepresented the actual status of things when you said it's getting worse, when in fact it's getting better. So what I did for you, because perhaps you haven't been able to avail yourself to some of the actual things that are happening on the ground, or either you are intentionally trying to ignore those things. So what I did for you is I sent a link to the host, Mr. Ashford Garley. I don't know if he cares to put it on the screen. That link is a website of the amazing accomplishments that this administration has been able to undertake everywhere from healthcare, infrastructure, education, you name it. And we can't even keep up anymore. So we're going to have to update that list. But let me just bring your attention to a few things that happened of recent. Number one, I don't know if you know the essence.
But to be fair, you a host yourself. You can share the screen and tell us what is it that you know so far on.
I can share it on here.
I won't be. Yeah, you can share. I won't be in a position to share that. You know, I'm here as
okay. Okay. So to be honest,
I don't consult for the government of Liberia, so I'll be promoting them. If I
but the last time that other guy out here brought someone on a screenshot, I know we're gonna screenshot.
That's what I just said. He did it on his own, so you can.
Okay.
So ready to do that as well.
While I figure out how to do that, I'm gonna post the link in a group chat right now where everybody can access it, and I'll try to figure out how to post it.
Send it to me. I'll share it.
Randy, I'll send it to you right now on Messenger. But as I do that, I don't want to waste my time. Okay, so I'm sending it to you right now, Randy. But
you got two more minutes.
2 more minutes. Yeah. So let's just go ahead and illuminate some of the amazing things that have happened in the healthcare sector. Like I said, not perfect, still challenged, but advancements are being made. Number one, Miss Gongolwe, I don't know if you understand the essence of what a medical oxygen lab or production facility is. Well, for the first time in the history of Liberia, under this administration, Liberia, in fact, I don't know if any other country in West Africa would accuse of themselves of doing this. Liberia is for the first time in history of Liberia, the production of medical oxygen within the country is a thing of reality. For a very long time in the history of Liberia, the country has its first dialysis center, such that Omegonogwe, Yankwe, Mahawa, those people who can afford, like you and myself, to travel out of the country to go do dialysis if they need that. Now they will have that service at the John F. Kennedy Medical Center. Let me also bring your attention to what just happened of recent. The dedication of the Emirates Hospital by His Excellency Dr. George Manawia, an amazing accomplishments. I saw a lot of you talk about, that's not even a hospital, it's a clinic. Well, show me something better that you have. That is a hospital. What are the prerequisites of a hospital? Everything that is required to make a place a hospital or in existence at that facility. That's an amazing accomplishment right in Joseph Yima Boyka backyard.
Thank you.
But you said 2 minutes, I only 25 seconds. I've been going. Also, Also, you very casually mentioned the Redemption Hospital. Because of course, the president is now looking for the opposition to president. So the Redemption Hospital that is being renovated, when completed, will mimic and match any major hospital on the continent of Africa. Of course, I'm saying it's going to be amazing. Also, the 14 military hospital. That's their amazing accomplishments, but we still have a lot of challenges.
You're way over 2 minutes.
There's so much more. Randy, I will send a thing to you to put it up for me.
You're way over your 2 minutes. Let me give the folks a chance to respond to what you just said. Randy, you want to go? Jacobs, Edith?
Yes. Let me say this here to the audience out here. as I said, the president is making progress, and that is up to the intellectual understanding of all the audience here what it means by making progress. But I would say this, all right, I'm just going to make this comment until you get back to me with a specific question. President President George, we are presidency has been about improving the community across the country and uplifting the Liberian people are the reservoir of poverty, all right, that they have suffered for many, many years. And that also disproportionately conditioned them by unfair policy in the past. So what he's doing today is living up to the change for hope. And I think after this year election, he's going to even transfer that change for hope to change to do more. So when I see people coming out here and don't want to be honest, actually, it is very unfair. One of the unfairness is the fact that there are infrastructure that are being built that weren't there before. Liberia, in terms of capacity building, whether it is healthcare professional, specialized cardiologists, neurosurgeon, we don't have this capacity in our country. But how do we start? We start with a policy. The president started with 4 pillars, and on each pillar, there are bullet point things that he's working towards. Are we counting those things? I listened to either saying that the government did not do well as far as the COVID go. That was a very unfair statement because she mentioned about the health center or the health ministry. The health ministry have been very, very instrumental in partnering with the WHO to fight against Ebola and also fight against COVID. But I understand, and I understand that when people take opposition position, they are not being very Liberia centric because the centricity of being a Liberian is to understand that when things are done for the people of Liberia, don't customize it to your own liking because you are not the one doing so. Says either says you are in Liberia when the COVID was raging here. If you look at the statistics of how many people died during the Ebola versus how many people got the awareness during the COVID, if you cannot draw that conclusion, I will rest my case on that and turn it back to you as it.
Jacobs and Edith, I think one of the things that Ballas tried was for the first time we have a dialysis machine in Liberia, where before then people who were on dialysis couldn't go to Liberia because they didn't have the equipment there to treat them. They would either go to Ghana or other places. Now we have this now in Liberia at the GFK hospital. Jacobs, Edith. Please
So
yeah.
you talk about dialysis machine. Is it functional now? Is it something that has been accessed by the public? That's one question. But let's come back to the issue of the COVID. Like I said, I was in Liberia. There was many deaths that occurred in communities. Some were not COVID related, but they all were grouped as COVID related deaths. The testing itself was challenged. You could never really determine or you could never distinguish what was a COVID related death or non COVID related death. Our testing capacity was challenged throughout during that COVID era. I remember from the beginning where specimens had to be taken from around the county, and when they sent them to Monrovia, they had to send them out of the country, to be able to verify whether the person had COVID or not. In the process, sometimes people die even before the results came back. But let's put that aside. Let's even assume that by the government records, they've done so much better than any existing government or any past, let's say any past government, any past government. Let's take their record for that. But it's almost like the World Bank coming up or the finance ministry saying we have surplus, we have surplus in our budget this year. However, The layman in the community, the mamusu in the market, can't even get her daily bread from what she's selling. She's so hard pressed and hard squeezed economically. Yet our government says that our economy is performing well. In fact, our budget is surplus. We have so much left over. It's almost like the same argument with the healthcare system. Every time I listen, people are dying. They're going to the hospital. There are no medicine. They're not treated. They're being turned away. They find their way to the private clinics, and the private clinics, they're in business to make money. If you don't have the money to turn you away, you go to JFK, you go to any public health center, or they give you, if you are lucky to even be seen and assessed, or examined, before they see you, they give you prescription, they give you a script. Go and buy gloves, go and buy this, the bare essentials that make hospitals operate. Patients have to get them to take them to the hospital. I have a couple of my sisters who are nurses, and they work in the counties, and they will tell you at these public facilities, they have to use whatever money they're now doing business. Nurses in the various facilities do business. When they have little money, they buy gloves, they buy alcohol, they buy this, they buy that. When a patient goes to the clinic, they say, well, but no alcohol here, you can go to town to buy it, no problem. But if you want, I have my own here, I'm selling it, because those supplies are not available. Hospitals are not just a building. It encompasses all of the things that you need to make the healthcare delivery system functional or work. There are nurses who are crying, like we were trained to save lives. Doctors are crying, but we cannot save lives because we are strangulated. We don't have the materials to work with. We don't have the equipment to work with. And so sadly, we see people are dying in our care and we can't do anything. Those who cannot stand it, they go out of their way to the wholesale drugstores and stuff and buy medication, like these basic on-the-counter medication, just to be able to do critical intervention on the spot. But the patients have to pay. If that for you is optimal health care, I rest my case.
Jacobs?
Listen, I don't want to. This is not, for me, it's not a political issue. So it's not about opposition or, a leading position or whatever. But if these things are done, I mean, there could be a catalog for people to see. The dialysis machine at GFK, if it's available, those who know about it will report about it. I mean, again, like I said earlier, I will not speak much on the healthcare delivery because I really did not make an assessment on it. I hate to speak from my own informed position, but I do know that, again, I know about not the GFK, the 14 military, during the Ebola, the corona, helped some people that pretty much, I know that much about that. Actual service delivery, whether it's in Monrovia, I was speaking earlier again from the district standpoint and from the River G side. And like Ms. Gongo said, when you say surplus and drugs not in the hospital, somebody not telling the truth. So because you can only have surplus when basic needs are met. So again, it left with those who see from what they see. But when you speak from the county, the liberal counties, and you go southeast, from where we're from, your services are not there. Everyone knows that. Now, if you're talking about the Monrovia side with the dialysis thing, again, recently people made some travels out of the country. They needed dialysis machines. People are traveling recently because of the same thing to Ghana and other places. These services are there and they're not being told or they're not aware. Again, are they accessible? So yeah, it's good to catalog the things and we can put them on the screen and look at them one by one, where they're located and when they're being used and when they were installed. I think that will help the public. But to be listed and talked about and cannot be seen and felt, there's something wrong with that picture. So again, I'm not in a position to say it didn't happen or it's not happening, but I just speak from what I know. So that's my take on that. I can only speak on the things that I know about. Yeah.
the government is making progress according to Rennie Dapo, and Mr. Bala just outlined a list of things that he thinks are working in Liberia. Mr. Bala, just before I go to Rennie, can you give us some testimonials about some of the patients in terms of the dialysis, in terms of making progress with the dialysis machine in Liberia?
When you ask for testimonials, you're asking me basically, do I have patients who have come out and narrated their experience as it relates to going to the dialysis center? And
you just stated that admissions are functional, right?
No, yeah. I mean, it's there. The facility is there.
Yeah. Are there patients who went and got treated?
Yeah, I mean, most
Liberian that we know of, that you know of, they can share with us.
Most definitely, but Ashford Garley, I think even you recommended to me to start putting the doctor behind my name because you know I'm into healthcare, and you're trying to put me in a bad place. There is something called HIPAA, so even if I knew people specifically, I wouldn't be sharing that with you. But the facilities are there, okay? They are functional. They were dedicated. The public saw it. You know, and my brother, I just want to make one quick little suggestion so I can give my time to my brother Rennie Dapo. Here's what I want to say to the opposition party. You guys need to really get it together and come up with real constructive criticism. Now you just move the goalpost from these things not happening to even if they're there or they're functioning. Or people, you have to be serious about the people of Liberia. You playing joke out of the people of Liberia. You've been an opposition party for the last 5 years, and you have not even been able to come up with real constructive criticism of this president. You keep being reactive. I told your other partner last week, Isaac, you guys are reactionary. You're not proactionary. Now you move the goalpost.
Ashford.
Yes.
Who's he referring to as opposition and all
No,
that?
I'm saying opposition. If you're not opposition, then that's fine. If you're
but
not,
the Liberia's issue, I mean, you even talking to even people who are in the government. You're talking to citizens across. You're not focused on the opposition. You need the oppositions out.
My brother, this is very much political. You're not gonna try to bluff here.
Okay.
The reason why you criticize him because you're here. So no, nobody is a kid. This is very much political. And if you want to be political, man up, woman up, get yourself ready, cowboy the hell up. Okay, get yourself ready. Come with real constructive criticism. Don't keep moving the goalposts. 1 minute you reactionary. Now I just brought you a litany of proof. Now you're saying, okay, if this is happening, then what about this? That's a childish way to go about things. That's what I'm saying. No, listen, I am.
You said that's a what?
No. Okay, that is not the best way to go about things.
Ashford, hold on, Ashford.
Yeah.
I think we should.
I think the guest. I think you know the guy. You got it off a little bit. I work in the previous government, sir. I work in the previous and the current. Okay. Don't address me the way you're addressing me as if
how?
Jeremy,
you need to stop what you're doing because I mean
how?
No, you come up with my statement. You call me childish. I'm looking at the childish.
No. I took it back right away, and that's wrong.
That's why I'm trying to protect you earlier. I say just go broad with the issue. Talk to us when you're talking to generally Liberian.
I'm a grown man. I'm a grown man. I identified my mistake. I don't need you to correct me. I'm a grown man. I already fixed my mistake.
Let us refine our utterances, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's go.
Okay. J. Rennie, your mic is muted.
Actually, are you able to upload the second page I have there? I think that contains Bada image he was talking about.
What my producer is off duty tonight, so
okay, all right. Well, I would just leave it as that, but it's sitting right in there. Just how you bring it up. But what I would like to say again, guys, is from my discussion to the public out there, I'm trying to put things into context and discuss it based on the content. Liberia, according to what we know, is 175 years. From the time I started knowing myself, the Leeward counties that were used to be called the interior could not afford a medical clinic. I'm from River G. My mom and dad, they were buried over there. Had it not been for Yikepa, he would have died beyond the one kidney he survived on. Like I said, President WEAH is uplifting community and improving conditions in the country. We must start by building blocks because we don't have the infrastructure. The war that kind of destroyed most of the things we have, Ashford Garley, and everyone here. So when you build a hospital, you will need specialized people to begin to work on the different equipments. And those equipments, familiarity will come with training. And those training will have to be qualified by people who are experienced. We don't have those standards. But what the president has managed to do, he came up with 4 pillars. And on each pillar, he has shortlisted what he has accomplished over the period of time. When you look at pillar 1, that talk about education and training, he has done extremely well in some areas, and he is making progress in other areas. I could go on and on, but what I would do for you, Ashford, I will share the link so that the audience out there can see it. That's what I will do for you. But I want Sis Edith to understand, and I want everyone to understand here is, we never had the human capacity prior to the war, after the war. This president is trying to look at things geographically and strategically to begin to look at what he has on his 4 pillars. What are the priority areas that worry him right now? Rules, health, education. Those are things that he has listed and continue to work on gradually. So when we see the progress, because progress is the measurement that will look at achievement. So Madam Gonglo is saying that, oh, I don't see anything that worrying me classifying this to be a progress. Madam Gonglo, this thing wasn't there before. The fact that the president is putting structure that were never there before, it is making progress. Why? Because there were times that this thing never existed. So when we see the infrastructure, the first question we need to ask ourselves now is, what the infrastructure actually need? What can we do to improve the infrastructure? And that's why I said I will not blame President Seti, because if you look at the Johnson F. Hospital, they said they have MRI machine, CAT scan machine, but do we have the qualified people to run these things? Or the hospital is just standing there? So if Mr. Weah is sending people abroad to acquire those specialized skills, we should not blame Ellen, because Ellen was only able to put in the structure. Mr. Weah is coming up with the capacity. Maybe after Mr. Weah's term, there will be somebody that will come up with a preventive maintenance programs to maintain those things. And people will put in place standards that will be able to move the country forward. It's about building black folks. It's not about we don't have it in refugee, but it was never there to begin with. To say it was there, then it got broken down and nothing has been done, I would agree. I'm from refugee. My mom and dad, they are buried in Taken Town, right opposite Plonkin. I think it's about 15-minute drive from Fishtown. Those people were sick. They had to go to Yucaipa to get treatment. So there were not all those things. But the president has been very selective, except as I want to limit the conversation just to healthcare. But when we talk about another version of infrastructure aside from building, road connectivities, that's something, again, that also helps to feed.
Thank you, Randy.
How the different institutions should work perfectly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We started off on healthcare, and following that, we're going to go to education. But just before then, I think it would be fair to take our plea to the people out there and open up the telephone lines, because people want to weigh in as well. So we'll use the next 5 minutes to take about a few calls, and then we can segue to education. So I believe we have a caller on the line. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Tell us your name, please.
Oh, my name is Philip Woods. I'm calling from the state of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, to be.
From Pennsylvania. Yeah, go ahead. Philadelphia. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Garley. First of all, I want to thank my brother, Jay Randy, for sending me the link to have informed me that he was online. But I am just so disappointed. I don't know whether I just joined the conversation. I don't know whether this conversation is about promoting George Weah for the election, or they just informing the Liberian public about his achievement. But if they are here to highlight his achievement and what they just narrated about healthcare, about how you want dialysis machine and one MRI machine, I am very disappointed, because to have a country like Liberia with a man like George Weah, who had lived all over the world and went to Liberia as president 5 years ago, and we have to be boasting about one dialysis machine and one MRI machine. I don't even want to believe their bodies machine. I heard the machine was at the Johnson F. Road hospital in Nima County. I heard it was a helicopter from there to Morovia. So, I mean, I don't want to die from heart attack because to see people who are, I respect to be educated, to be telling us about two equipment, and based upon these two equipment, this regime will be a regime after October 10th. It's a disappointment because Liberia is nowhere. Before we talk about healthcare, before we talk about these two equipment, let's talk about the people that are dying on a daily basis. We can't get no redress. So, I mean, it's just disheartening. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another call on the line. I believe he's from, is that New York or New Jersey? Hello, caller.
Hello, Ashford. This is Merlinson Yadolo from New Jersey.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, people who are talking all the negative thing about George Weah are just disappointment. They are disappointment to themselves, not to the country. We all are Liberian. We want good for Liberia.
Excuse me, sir.
But when something positive is happening, we have to talk about it.
Excuse me, sir.
The hospital in Tapet.
We are addressing the performance of the president in the last 5 years. We are not here to attack people. I just want to make that clear so we get it. Okay? Thank you. Again, the number to call is 267-248-5295. 267-248-5295. That's the number to call. Hello?
Hello, Guardian.
Yeah, when you call, listen, we are here to address the issue and not to attack people.
Okay?
And please limit your conversation to the issue. The performance of the president, okay? Go ahead. The performance of the president in the last 5 years, that's what we're talking about now.
Okay, fine. But people are on your show who serve in the Eden government in Liberia. Like my sister, Ide Gonglo. She was superintendent of Nima County in the Unity Party-led government that received 16 billion foreign investment to Liberia. Anyone only able to get one hospital in Tapeta that was built by the Chinese government with 10 million United States dollars. Not even Liberian government built it. Chinese government built a hospital for Liberia in Tapeta for 10 million. UAE just built 20 million hospital in Bopolu City, which is twice the size of what the Chinese people put in Tapeta. Well equipped, more than what the Chinese people have in Tapeta. And the sister either that's sitting there in Nima County, Sunny Kole has one of the deplorable medical facility in Nima County. If you sick in Sunny Kole, you are able to get or they bring you to Kanda mentally. What they have in Sunny Kole called hospital is standing right on the tree track. When tree is passing, on a critical condition, you die. She said that as superintendent.
Mr. Nadro,
she sits here and condemns the administration.
This guy is not listening. He's not listening. Hello, caller, 202 number. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead. Tell us your name.
Yeah, I'm calling from Washington, D.C. Are you the moderator?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've been listening to the lady. I'm not going to attack her, and I pretty much understand the genuine frustration. As far as the president's performance, I'm somewhat okay with it. And
hold on, Armstrong. Hold on 1 minute.
People on the program said it's I'm somewhat okay with it. I'm getting feedback. Is somebody listening to me or something?
Go ahead now.
Okay. It's a do or do if you don't, do if you do, or don't do if you don't. It's a situation we are facing. The president is working with what he has. Okay? If he makes a doable system in place where things were working, you had healthcare workers in the country that were trained and ready to do the job, yes, you will not have people going out of the country. We had 12 years of civil war. 14 years of civil war. After that, you have 12 years of administration. Administration is a continuation. So basically what's going on is a continuation from the past administration. So if you have a previous member of the past administration now being critical, I think you should have what's the word I'm looking for? The gumption to answer the question. You were part of that administration. Where did you do in your county that you were head of? Okay? The records are there. So let her defend her own record before attack somebody else's record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Garley, Ashford.
The last, hold on, you got one more caller, then we'll go back to the panelists. Hello, caller. Hold on 1 minute. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yes, tell us your name.
My name is Othello Nayu. I'm calling from Connecticut.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just want to say something to our audience. Liberia is our country. If we come sit down today, we're talking about downgrading our country. Nobody's going to help our country. We that sit on the platform, we can do better than what we're doing today. Liberia, I live in Yekepa. I've started school on the farm from some part of Mount Give. People talk about normal days. What was in Liberia normal days? What the hospital we have? The big Bomai, Yekepa, CB Hospital, or in Nimakan, the guy that worked for Assistance Hospital in Yekepa, he had a hospital in Sanakoli. That only hospital I think we have in Liberia today. What we have today, at least we have to say something to tell our audience that we have hospital. We don't have people to work in this place. And now the president has trying to send people away to come back and help our country. We should be saying something to encourage the leader that there today. At least you don't do everything perfect. And now everything in Liberia is perfect. But at least we are going somewhere.
Thank you.
The next man that will come after the 2 years of Georgia, he can start from there and build a country.
Sir. Thank you.
But we can't. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say to people.
Thank you. Again, folks, we are trying to look at the record of President William. Jacob, you have something to say there earlier? Jacob?
No, the point was that I was just trying to, I don't understand where I think people were not listening earlier. When Ms. Edith made a statement, Gongluwe made a statement about the healthcare thing. I think she also further stated that she cannot blame or will not blame everything on this government. It's like old age problems. We made the same problem. I made the same statement already as well that you're talking about this president 5 years in office. These guys have the stats. I think they have it in some order. They have the links and the other things that the president and his government has achieved. They can list that and make that case. That's fine. So when there are other ailments, like in the previous administration, there were a series of gaps. And there were, like the current VP will say, squanders opportunity, which people take and highlight. There was squanders opportunities in terms of what could have been done. Why was there 16 billion direct investment? Some people rated at $20 billion investment. Did the money come to Liberia based on credibility? Why are we not getting it now? Is it because of the lack of credibility? The question becomes, what's working in Liberia, what did not work, or what's working now, or what could be done for this government, or what the president has done, this not done, and what they will be doing later on. Those are the kind of conversation. If we start looking at everything under the political, because the previous government had its own blunders. The president, before she left office, the last government, I remember hearing her saying, I failed on corruption, I failed to unite the country. You don't hear leaders then highlighting their failures. So I don't think this forum, for me, my discussion here is not about that government versus this one. I don't think it would be even unfair to President Weah to compare somebody 12 years to 5 years. Makes no sense to me. It's unfair to him because you've got to give him the same number of years to either rate him and start pairing him up with his predecessor. To start pairing him up with 5 years versus 12 years is unfair. So I don't think it's that one versus this one. That's why I say they keep on leaving the politics side. I know people want to put in the politics there, you can't discuss without that, but let's keep it civil in terms of the truth telling. So I would challenge, if I say, for example, if our Minister of Finance say, look, we have $10 million surplus, which is usually a trend, then the question will come, we don't have drugs in the hospital. There's no chalk in the classroom, sir. Where the 10 million surplus? Where the 10 million surplus? You know, that kind of stuff. But that's the reality part of it. But as to say the government is not making progress or is not doing well or is not that, the people, the actual stats, the number don't lie. People have to see what progress you're making. How many people sent abroad, who've been training, who's training for what. These numbers, you have to get them. 3,000 to 4,000 students out there or doctors in training. The numbers, this is what the public need to know. If those who are making the president's case will have to make those cases, they have to make it on tangibles in terms of numbers. That will help the president. But don't do any comparison. Comparison is falsehood, because the previous one president had 12 years and you're matching it against somebody 5 years, you will always see the honor rating and you will not be fair to him. I just want to add that.
Okay, well, thanks, Mr. Jacobs. With
Yeah,
that,
Ashford, can I just let me just reiterate something that I had said earlier.
want to stick with the education, but go ahead and make a point, then we'll go to education.
Yeah, we'll go to education. I think the listeners are not being fair to the country and they're not being fair to the discussion. What we are saying here, just like Jacob said, we are looking at reality versus what they've written to feed the public with. I just came from Liberia about 2 months ago. When you talk to the ordinary people at the community level, those who feel the pinch of this on a daily basis, those who are losing family members because there's no medicine in the hospital, or the nurses were not available for treatment, or they could not take them because they didn't have the money to register or something like that. It's like the list goes on and on and on and on. So what are we looking at? Are we looking at the physical infrastructure, or are we looking at the impact within the health sector? If we are looking at physical infrastructure to say, well, he has built 2 hospitals and the predecessors or other people before him didn't build these hospitals, then let's say that. But we are looking at health as a holistic sector, and it impacts lives. We are not talking about, some numbers outside of reality here. We are talking about physical human being lives. People are dying every day. Every day people are dying. Not that people don't die in other countries. Yes, people die even here every day. But at least the bare minimum must be done. There should be some bare minimum intervention, medical intervention. The lack of this medical intervention is causing a lot of people to die prematurely. That's what we are talking about. So is our healthcare sector or healthcare system or healthcare delivery system really working? Is it serving the population as it should? I would say no.
Thank you. Well, I think it would be fair for us to go around the room before we go to the next subject. We have Dr. Bala here. He's a healthcare practitioner, a medical doctor. I want you to come in and go to J. Rennie, Idatus Ade, then we can go to education. Dr. Bala.
Sorry, I'm trying to unmute myself. Greetings to the Reverend. Actually, Reverend, you and I got to do a prayer section together at some point.
Definitely, anytime.
Are you Baptist, or what's your denomination? Reverend?
I'm Pentecostal.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Pentecostal. I was baptized a Baptist, though.
We got to pray for our president. But here's what I want to say. Here's what I want to say. My Oma says, Edith, you owe me dry rice. There is no way we can minimize greatness. You can't do it. Every the Reverend will tell you, when God blesses you, no man can curse you. Well, let me just say this. You can't minimize greatness. President WEAH'S is not perfect. No, I know. I share your sentiment, brother. President WEAH'S is not perfect. The healthcare system in Liberia is still derailed. We all admit to that. But you don't want to, give credence to the fact that improvements are being made. And that's where we run a loggerhead. Improvements are being made on a very gradual but consistent basis. And by the way, before I finish up, I just want to say, folks, The Cash App money and the Zelle money is right there. This is, in my opinion, the most powerful platform in Liberia. Let's contribute, my people. We can't be enjoying the kind of conversation, all these brilliant Liberians here, and we just watch the show for free and go. Ashford Garley taking his time. So please, my people, let's contribute. That Zelle, if you got Cash App, Zelle there. You got Zelle, Cash App there. But look, the president is making, gradual improvement in the healthcare sector. Real numbers. You ask for numbers. To the tune of 25 to 30 Liberian practitioners were sent abroad to go and specialize. These people are gradually making their way back to the country. These are numbers. Numbers don't lie. Check the scoreboard, like Daisy said. The numbers are there. Get yourself acclimated, get yourself acquainted with these reality on the ground, folks. Because let me tell you something, the opposition party, that's not a job to praise the president. So they will not come here and tell you the truth that the president is doing. That's what we're trying to do. The president, I don't work for the president. I don't know him. He doesn't know me. I've never spoken with him before. I empathize with this man, and I think he's the best choice that we have. And we're going to go to education. We're going to everything tonight. We got record to prove that they can bring screenshot to put on the screen for you to see. We got record peer-reviewed websites and you can go to and see these real life numbers. We're not playing. The president is not playing. He's serious about Liberia, and so am I.
Thank you. Dapple.
Yes, Ashford, history has proven that for a very long period of time, Monrovia has been the city of opportunities. And every one of us who travel made our way to Monrovia to get across, majority of us. But under the leadership of George Weah, places like Ganta, Zedru, Bapulu, the president is now giving hope to these cities that while it is true that Monrovia has the opportunity, these cities are looking at possibility for things to happen. Now, as a policy person in this country, when we measure progress, it's looking toward a destination. This president came to power on 4 pillars: education, the economy, health, and good governance. And on each of those titles, there are bullet point or things that the president continued to do. How much has he achieved for the 5 years as it comes to education and training? How much has he achieved when it comes to gender equality? Those are statistics that have been listed. They are within the ministry. When we ask for the documentation while discussing, I think it will be better that we request them and also make recommendation. This president has been commended by IMF for what he has done with the economy. The report from the president participation within the 4 pillars are being seen clearly. But what people don't understand here, and I got it, because opposition, they are not in the business of pleasing anything that they did not do because they want to get on the field. A player on the sub-bench will always tell the coach that Memphis because he wants to get on the field. So they would not be in the business to come and say the truth here. But when we look at what we are doing, we are saying here. For me, I want Liberians to understand that I'm discussing the thing on progress. We cannot measure the end line of the president when he has not completed his term. But what we can do is to look at every area that he has listed on the 4 pillars that have been carried out through the framework of the Propo agenda and see what he has done. We should be able to have institutions that will go out there, independent institutions that will verify these things. We have the statistics here. But the question here is, what is the opposition doing to say, you know what, we have what the president has done? It's called program evaluation. Madam Edith, according to somebody, she served as superintendent. But when she discussed this thing, as far as healthcare goes, I have not heard from her when she was superintendent. What was the healthcare standard? What was the protocol? How many people died during her administration and how many people did not die and why? I'll leave it with you guys. Thank you, Ashford.
The Reverend Idatu Sade.
Ashford, I really would like to get the education with respect to this statistics. First of all, let me apologize for being late. I just left Bible study, and I do have another show after yours. So my sincere apology to the panelists and their listening audience. So the question is,
We said
We
this.
are grading the.
We said this over and over. When you late, the Cash App is on there. The Zelle is on there. You got to pay a fine, so you know what to do. Go
Most
ahead.
definitely. So are we evaluating the president on his healthcare performance?
Healthcare, education is next. Yeah, if you have anything to add on the healthcare system before we move to education.
Right. So, I heard Mr. Dapo say the statistics are there, but I didn't hear him educate the audience on what the statistics are with respect to healthcare improvements, with respect to education. I would like for Mr. Dapo to first of all tell the Liberian public what is your current national budget, how much of that budget is invested in healthcare. 2, how much of that budget is invested in education. Then you can make a concrete argument as to whether or not we are seeing the dividends today. So I'm truly willing to hear, because the last time I checked, not much money was given to education. When you want to talk about healthcare, are you truly feeling the impact of healthcare delivery? According to the World Bank, we still have challenges in the area of poor health and nutrition in Liberia. And now, mind you, the World Bank is one of our biggest funders of $31 million in different aspects, but recognizes that Liberia still has challenges in the areas of poor healthcare delivery system and nutrition. So it's not just the construction of hospital, thank God for the infrastructure, but are we receiving the quality healthcare system delivery? That's something that needs to be evaluated. I also heard one of the panelists mention that to be able to evaluate the president in his first 5 years will not be fair to him. And this is something that people do all the time as political analysts, politicians. We assess leaders in their first term to see what they've accomplished over the years. Now, thank God for the Bapalu Hospital. Thank God to Sheikh Mohammed, Al Nahyan, for donating this hospital to us from the United Emirates Republic. So it is such a blessing all through the president's initiative when he opened it. So yeah, there are infrastructural advancements that we can see happening. The military hospital number 14, but are these hospitals meeting the needs of the Liberian people? Are existing hospitals such as Redemption Hospital, JFK, has the president's administration invested enough to be able to manage the population and healthcare service delivery in Monrovia, Liberia? Unfortunately, that isn't happening. Now, we can certainly appreciate the fact that the president has sent people abroad. In the absence of those who are abroad, what efforts are being made to contract existing Liberian doctors to get on tour, to come and perform surgeries in different aspects of our healthcare system delivery? I haven't seen that done yet. There are several Liberian doctors just from the school I graduated from, St. Patrick's. I went to one of our annual reunion. I was speaking to like 12 medical Liberian doctors in a talk. But are there efforts to be able to manage the coordination of their participation in Liberia through our healthcare ministry? I'd like to see more of that. On that note, I'll stop.
Ashford, can I come in because my name was mentioned? So I think in all fairness to me, I have to just take 1 minute to respond to that.
Just 1 minute, then we'll go. Just 1 minute, Rennie, please.
Right. So I would say this to Pastor Adi. If he want a detailed document, then it would mean that he will have to come on the show. Jihad, the other guy, came here because the information he asking me for, I can only provide a summary. If he need detail, I can invite him on my show, or I can have an offline conversation with him, share with him what he needs for me to give it to him. But right now, based on the time, what we are discussing here is just a summary of bullet points related to institution sector performance based on the president. But I would say this: if the budget is not sufficient for education, our government is not operating just on the executive level. You have the opposition in the House. Where is their knowledge on what they call check and balance? I think Mr. Adi should be going after those who are part of the legislative branch. But you see, when people continue to listen to opposition platform, it limits their understanding of the triangular function of a democratic government. I will leave it as that.
Thank you. I don't know what you refer to as opposition platform. Are you talking about his utterance?
Yeah, Yeah, you see, Ashford, as a talk show host, I'm very data driven. I'm very analytical. Opposition will always preach like executive politics. That is, they look at the things from the executive standpoint as being bad. They don't create a triangular conversation to say, you know what, we have a democratic system of governance. If the president is not doing the right thing, the legislature need to get involved. One of the major elections in the country here that people pay attention to is the congressional election, because it plays a very important role in this country.
Thank
So
you,
to see Liberians sitting here and don't want to get involved with that triangular politics that include the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary politics, I see that as a platform that is very opposition in itself, and it needs the expansion of their minds.
Thank you. Okay, folks.
30 seconds, Ashford.
Go ahead. That is fair.
And I will have my part of second too, because
you won't have any second.
I need time because Dapo mentioned my name.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, and another person. So I just want to
that just
right. So Mr. Dapo has cleverly attempted to deflect a request for data, even though he's data driven. Don't forget that it is the executive branch of government that proposes the budget and the House approves it.
No,
so all I'm saying to you, I'm saying to you for your listening audience, since you're touting all of these accomplishments, tell us what is the budgetary investment in health and education, and what are the dividends? And if you're data driven, I don't think there's something you should shy away from telling us.
Yeah, you see, Ashford has a plan. I cannot.
That's okay, my brother. That's okay.
It's all here, my friend. It's all here.
We operate on time here.
I'm going to send.
But tell the Liberian people. Let us know.
When the time comes, I would do that. If I start to do that here, I would take over the show. You know, I'm a talk show host, and I don't want to ride about the show.
Thank you, Rennie. Okay, folks, let us move on. Edith, you can
Mr. Garley.
Yeah, so Dapo mentioned.
Edith, no, don't do that, please. We can do it. We don't have the time right now.
Okay.
Education. Okay.
It's not fair though, Ashford.
It is fair.
He mentioned my name, and I think it's just for fair to respond to that.
You can do that in education as well, right?
Okay.
Before you speak. Well, education. Let us look at the challenges from poor learning outcomes to average learners, enrollment. Wasted government resources on ghost employees and unqualified teachers. With that, let us begin with Mr. Jacobs. Please unmute your phone. Please unmute your phone.
What are the issues again? I'm sorry about that. What are the issues are?
We're talking about the challenges.
You said it.
As it relates to education in Liberia, poor learning outcomes, average learners, enrollment, wasted government resources, ghost employees, and unqualified teachers.
Yeah, that has been the trend. Again, for several years, even before the coming of this new administration, which is 5 years now. Those same issues still prevalent. The goal in the seesaw, sometimes they improve, sometimes we retrogress based on performance. But on the overall, education continuously suffers the blow, huge blow when it's underfunded. And so, according to our national budget, we were supposed to receive, I think, 25% of the national budget should be given to education. But years in, years out, it's always been around 13, 12, 9%, and all of that. So education itself is underfunded. And so it makes it difficult. That's why we have the facilities we have. That's why when this government came in, the need assessment that was done was that I think people misunderstood what was happening. The review of the sector was that there was a gap in terms of actual teacher quality. I think people misunderstood what that document was. That document, I was part of that document framework development. I think The analysis that was done with the 6,000 teachers issues that people keep misunderstanding was not the physical presence of the invitation of getting 6,000 teachers into Liberia. It was the training capacity gap that 6,000 teachers need to be trained to fill the gap, not bringing 6,000 from Nigeria as it was being miscalculated in the public. But no one came back to clarify that, and they just left it that there were 6,000 teachers coming into Liberia. That was not what the study was done. We did that to show our training needs, our gap, but then they miscalculated that. And so the government, the assessment was done. The government was trying to get that training needs met. And since people miscalculated and didn't understand, those of us who actually did the study at the review, and they ran with it, now our teachers, then the government can even host 40, 50 teachers from Nigeria to send them around through the country before you're talking about 6,000. We struggle to get 30 persons seated year in, year out as part of the Peace Corps program from Nigeria, and it was difficult getting them housing in the interior and other places, let alone 6,000. So, but again, if you're not in the sector, if you don't have the background, some people just misunderstand instead of asking the actual people, the experts on the grounds. So yeah, but the country still suffer that teacher gap and teacher quality. The infrastructure, we build schools, we build colleges. Even again in the previous administration, that was also the question we had, building the proliferation of community colleges. There were no quality teacher, quality instructor, no professors in there. The actual materials, equipment, not there. You're just building and constructing and all that stuff. So we suffered. We continue to, the education sector continue to suffer. The key there is the lack of funding, the lack of resource. And that's what's keep happening up to this time. And so I don't know in terms of rating the overall sector after having done our studies. I wouldn't say right now for the last 1 year or so what has been happening, but it's always been underfunded. If you look in our schools today, there's still teacher quality problems, still prevalent. There is still issue with basic supplies. I'm talking about chalk. I'm talking about teaching and learning aids. Those things are not available. If you don't want to, I don't want to talk about the infrastructure itself.
But Mr. Jacobs, you talk about the lack of chalk and basic supplies. The finance minister brags about surpluses most time. So what are they doing with the surplus? I mean, are they putting it back? What are they doing with it?
Now that's the question. The question. This is why. I know there was an interview done with me some time ago on OKFM with the same thing. When you talk about surplus and people don't have chalk, it's an irony. You have to be able to explain that. There's something wrong with that. You can't be telling people you have surplus. When I was in charge of a group of teachers, having been in charge of the largest public school system, and I'm telling people the government is trying. The government is trying. We don't have the resource. Times are hard, difficult. The teachers will understand. Then you get the Minister of Finance come on the radio and say, we have $10 million surplus last year. And the teachers are telling me, what a minute, are you telling us the truth? The minister said we get surplus and you say we can get chalk, we can get these basic supplies. So it's like, it was me versus them in terms of who being honest and telling the truth. And truly the government struggles. The government had a downfall in terms of the pandemic and all the different challenges. But to be so political, you have one person coming out and say we get surplus. You want to look good. So again, so if it's true, you heard the minister say that time and time he has surplus, but then the basic supply is not there. Again, these are serious challenges that's ongoing, been around. When again, let me just reference one point quickly. The Ellen administration in 2005, basically average was about maybe $15. And then by the time the government seized, it was on average a bachelor's degree at $375. What is unfortunate in this case with the current trend, and you can talk to teachers across, they will tell you, The harmonization, what the government intent was to do people who were in high bracket salary bracket, people who were making over 10,000 or maybe 12,900, they call different salaries. The president announced that he needed to get people under 7,200 or so and so forth. But I don't understand how teachers and other people fell in that category, that the salaries were just going up and down and seesaw under the harmonization scam. It was hurting the workforce. And getting them to keep working and going to the classroom and teaching at the same time when the salary is not stable was confusing. And so the sector is continuing to be challenged by those kind of basic stuff. The salary is delayed in some cases, then it's in seesaw, no one knows what they're actually making. You say you're not cutting me, but I'm receiving the salary. I'm telling you, the salary is cut or something happened to it. The minister will come and explain. He said, oh, we collapsed people's salary into one brand. It was Liberian dollars and US dollar. When we collapse it, some people have to pay high bracket and this is what, and all those explanations, people now feeling it. And that's why you see some of these up and down in the school system. And the things for sex for grades, labor for grades, money for grades, things that people will fight against. You can't effectively do that when people are not actually being paid their basic salaries. And you find that every now and then when two students turn in their assignments, they're giving $100, $20, just their lunch money and putting in their assignments and giving it back to teachers. You got this kind of stuff going on because of all of these things. So, and again, it's not this government making or anything. I'm just telling you that the fact that it happens when you cutting the salaries in this time, you shouldn't be cutting them. It should be either going up. Salaries should not be reduced by any means when it comes to civil service by the law.
Thank you.
It's supposed to not be reduced at all. You can harmonize this. You can harmonize civil service salaries. You just can't. So when they started complaining and you take the actual payroll and you look at it and you see last month you saw this amount and this month you see this other amount, you know, that's something the technocrats and the technicians not doing right. Something got to be wrong with that because we look at the payroll clearly. This is not something you have to go take to the president. The technicians have to do their job. Including the minister, you have to be able to do his job in terms of making sure that people's salary has not been taken here and there. But everybody's complaining and nobody can feel that part. So the sector is underfunded. The government not making its own budget, not making the budget that's supposed to be by law. They're supposed to give that percentage. Then they're also not giving the basic supplies that are needed. So the schools keep struggling, and all these different things are adding up to that problem.
Well, folks,
so yes,
let the other folks time to talk. I beg you.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have less than 30 minutes to go. If you just joining us, folks, we'd like to say welcome to Ashford Garley Live, Mr. Bobby Wiles. Want to say thanks for your contribution. Of course, Bala, thanks as well. Ruby Added is in the building. Umutro Kringard is also here. JJ Saka Senior, you asked for another way to contribute. You can do that with PayPal. I just inboxed you the PayPal information since you're in Australia, according to you. And want to go to Mr. Bala. Education is one of the challenges we have in Liberia. You just heard Mr. Jacobs. What is your take?
Yeah, I heard Mr. Jacobs. A lot of points he made there. Education certainly a challenge in Liberia. That's no secret. And I'll give the folks on the other side of the aisle the opportunity to illuminate the real issues. There are issues in Liberia as far as it relates to education, but I want to take this quick opportunity for my next 2 minutes just to kind of read off of this, read some bullet points, accomplishments. That's what I want to focus on. I don't want to focus on just the negativity. Okay, so because the conversation is about
why he just outlined is not negativity though.
No. I'm not referring to him now. No, certainly I do appreciate what he did. Actually, I appreciate what Mr. Jacobs did, but I want to take my time, my opportunity to actually illuminate some of the at least the efforts that are being made, because the problems are there. You're saying something, Jacob. You saying something, but you're muted. You're muted. Mr. Jacob, you're saying something, but you're muted.
Jacobs, I think your phone is muted.
No. I was talking to my daughter on that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Sorry. All right. So pretty much, okay. So off of that website that I kind of pointed out, hopefully everybody can avail themselves. So it's called GeorgeWeAreReelection.com. That that website seeks to illuminate some of the amazing accomplishments of President Weah, admits the real problems that Mr.
2 minutes. Let us talk about education, sir.
Yeah, education. So that's what I'm talking. That's what I'm about to highlight some points from that site. So number one, free public college education that benefits to the tune of 10,000 Liberians every year. Okay, the WEAH'S examination. The WEAH'S is free now in Liberia, benefiting nearly 40,000 students yearly. Okay, this president started the building of 28 high schools and 18 early childhood schools around the country. Those are underway. Okay, this president gave 3,500 supplementary teachers permanent teacher status. That means they were converted from being supplementary. You just come when we need you to permanent status. It may not be big, but those are gradual steps. Okay. Also increased the pay of 3,500 supplementary teachers from 18,000 Liberian dollars to $125 US. Okay. Added 1,300 teachers and guidance counselors to the government of Liberia pool. Okay. And also this president is, I'm sure you guys heard about the effort to digitalize the education system in Liberia. That's going to take a while before it happens, but at least they're thinking in that direction. Now, I wanted to quickly highlight those, but I want to specifically underscore the fact that there are real problems in our education sector. I don't want to take it for granted. Some of us were blessed to come to other places in the world and educate ourselves. So I'm not going to downplay that. There are real problems.
Bala, how can you authenticate that when Mr. Jacobs only just stated that people don't even have chalks?
But yeah. To
allow Mrs. Gonglo Ware to come in on that.
Oh, well, you asked a question. You're not going to let me answer the question?
I mean, you just okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, you asked a question. Yeah, you said how can I and I am admitting to the fact that there are issues in Liberia. Okay, we all know that there are issues in the education sector. I'm not saying what Mr. Jacobs is saying are entirely false or 100% correct, but there are issues. These issues have been endemic in our education system in Liberia for perpetuity. So they are there. But at least what we're trying to highlight is the fact that advancements or at least the effort at progress are being made. I thought that's what we're talking about. So yeah, the issues are there, but efforts are being made to remedy these issues. That's all I'm saying.
Mrs. Ware.
Well, I just want to make one quick comment on what Mr. Dapo said earlier when we were talking about health. He mentioned that our superintendent of NIMBA, and whether people did not die under my administration, we're looking at presidential scorecard. And for your information, as superintendent, you do not make laws and you don't make policies. You don't set the stage for the leadership at that level. You are representing government and government policies. You are implementing government policies from the national level and trickles down to the county. So as far as implementing what government policies at the time were at the local level, yeah, we did our best, and the records are there to prove, and the NIMBA people are there as, they can give testament to that. I just wanted to set that stage and our record right. Coming back to the issue of education, quite honestly, in every sector in this government, there are challenges. And most of those challenges are preventable challenges. But I haven't seen the will to do it. It does not mean that this government has done 0% everything. No, that's not what we are saying here. But in a situation like education, where you have a national budget, I would really be interested to know what is the WEAH government allocation to education, to the sector of education. What's their allocation for the sector of health, for other sectors, especially critical sectors like health? and education. What is the allocation within our national budget? To my knowledge, not just this government, but even previous government, our allocation to education has always been low. That questions what is the priority of our government? Do we prioritize educating the citizens of the country? It has even gotten progressively worse under this government in terms of budgetary allocation to the sector of education. To my recollection, I think in 2014, 2015, the national budget, they had 13% of the national budget allocated to education. I think it's much less than that right now. What that tells me is education is not a priority of the government. And because of the poor and low allocation of our national budget to education, that is why Mr. Jacobs is talking about the shortage of chalks, the shortage of basic learning materials. And it's not just Mr. Jacobs. I've heard from my people in Nimba. Teachers going to class and they will be breaking chalks into pieces as we speak. My man, you go and teach, you got some more piece left, then they break it and say, no, I got to keep this one for tomorrow. You take this piece. It's horrible. It is sad. So, you know, I hate to talk about it because for us to even be able to measure something, there has to be a starting point. And for me, that starting point is let's look at our budget, because the budget, the allocation will tell you the priority of any government. What is this government's priority? We will tell that in the national budget. What is allocated to health, to education, to security, to all that will let us know the priority of this government. And that is a challenge to Bala. That's a challenge to Randy. Tell us, what is your government, or what is this government that you support and die for? What is their budgetary allocation for education? Let's take the discussion from that point, because that, for me, will inform me as to whether this government prioritizes education at all.
Thank you.
So, thank you. Yes, thank you very much. You know, I was really hoping that Mr. Bala would have provided those statistics, but there's a reason why he and my brother Randy will not tell us. Madam Gonglo. But the fact remains, $9.4 million. 9.4 million. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Sorry, guys. $9.4 million is allocated to support education services, including $5.6 million for basic education material supply, examination fees for 12th grade, candidates for WEAH'S and 9th grade candidates for WEAH'S, and $2.5 million targeted towards elimination of registration fees and forms of financial. Additionally, there is a $0.5 million for completion of rehabilitation works at University of Liberia. When you sum total all of that from a budget of $777.5 million, less than 20 million. Less than 20 million. For
and
a
that
country of 5.
What percentage of the budget? I bet it's less than 9.
Right. Okay, so for someone who, you know, and that is why I was trying to get them to give the public the information, you know, as opposed to making political, you know, stunts. But the president is doing this, doing that. Your budgetary investment determines what you look at as priority for your people. And, you know, our brother there did an excellent job at informing the public that we need a lot more investment in education. Don't forget that almost Samuel Tua have proposed $800 million, but the budget has already experienced a shortfall of $29 million. So we are now at $777.5 million as proposed by the president fiscal year 22-23. Okay, so out of $700 million as your budget, most of that money goes to debt financing, salaries, and extra expenditures, to include writing a $90,000 car by the maritime boss.
Thank you, that is.
To include misappropriation of funds. You know, like it's overwhelming. We see the clear catastrophic economic policies, mismanagement of public resources that should be directed to improving the education of the Liberian people. And we don't see that happen. So yes, we need more investment. We believe the president can do more. Thank you.
Dapo.
Yeah, Ashford, I'm glad that the issue of the budget is coming up, especially on the line of education. And I'm going to discuss and present to the people what is going on that they don't understand, and some of the panelists perhaps understand, but trying to touch the reality here. And Agonglo, I understand the fact that you don't make policy, you don't make law, but you implement. Whatever they tell you to do, your capacity to turn things around, it will be based on your experience. You did not tell me what you did, not what you were told to do. If I were to be the superintendent of that county, my programs will utilize the policy, will utilize the budget, but you did not say that. Let's move forward here.
I was going to tell you this show was not about me talking about what I did as superintendent about 12 years ago. I would have prepared myself for that. The discussion here today is to look at this government scorecard in the various sectors. That's what we came here to discuss. So do not undermine the under under discussion. I think we need to focus.
It is called deflection.
It's diversionary. Don't do that.
I hope you adding my time because people who serve in government,
Sure, ready to set the record straight. So go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, sure, but I just asking you to remember my time. People who have served the government should come with experience, and their experience should have a solid discussion here. That's what I'm alluding to. Now, as far as education goes, there is an old age problem. All right. The country itself have been unstructured for a long period of time. There were institutions that were built. Like I said, the war destroyed everything. Post-war Liberia, Ellen Johnson said the key and had an overwhelming support in the sense that she should have structuralized all the institutions we are talking about here, because she got enough aid that she received. But none of those things were done. Today, the country budget is based on the taxes that are collected from the businesses and few Liberians. What people don't understand, and I will ask my brother Ade to do his homework, the lawmakers take 2/3 of that budget. They are averaging 15,000 every month and 9,000 every month. Over a 9-year period, a single representative is going to take away almost 648,000. A senator, after 9 years, will be taking 1,620,000. 2/3 of the budget is given to the representative. And these representatives are the ones that are mainly from the opposition. If they believe that we need a perfect healthcare system, if they believe that we need better education to be funded, what are they doing with that money? The flashy car you talk about, they are riding the flashy car. You don't hear them talking about things. The opposition themselves, when they come to discuss issues, they don't allow the Liberian people to listen to them on what we are saying here. So, Brother Ade, there are people in the country who own property that don't pay taxes. Government is not a private institution that make profit. Government generate of income from public, from providing services to the public. So a teacher don't have crayon. It's because the lawmaker budget, the national budget, lawmakers are taking 2/3. I just share the budget online for people to read, not just looking at things. What you're reading over there is a forecast, meaning that it's possible that it could be or it could not. If they own property in our country and not paying taxes, at the end of the month, the wage bill that's supposed to cover the salary, it will be short. And it will lead to some form of budget shortfall. You got to understand the nucleus of how things are done in the country. Madagongo knows those things, that it is not just the budget. They can forecast the budget. But even if the executive is not providing the opportunity for the institution to get the budget that they need, what is the role of the opposition? Even if Jesus is sleeping, you are pastor, you'll be preaching, to continue that ability for people to believe in God, If the executive is not meeting up the institution required budget, what is the role of the opposition? That making
right. So the role. Okay.
I rest my
Sorry.
case.
So
I rest my case.
right. So Ashford. The role of the opposition. The role of the opposition. Yes. Go ahead.
Time has caught up.
Ashford, can I come in?
Time has caught up, gentlemen and lady. So I will go around the room to give each one 1 minute.
Okay.
After
Can I go first?
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, that is then.
Go for a double handle for you.
So clearly, right. So clearly, Mr. Dapo is asking for the role of the opposition as if to say it is the opposition that is in power. Mr. Dapo, the executive proposes the budget, and when the budget is proposed and lawmakers want to increase their salary, the president reserves the veto power to reject that, to make sure that that those resources are allocated for the well-being of the people. That is what we call democracy. But you don't propose a budget to the legislature to be approved, and you have less investment in education and healthcare, and you want to say it is the opposition fault. About $255 million goes to 65,000 civil servants as salary. Look at your government investment in education. You can't deflect by blaming the legislators alone. Yes, they have the role to play, but the truth remains that this government has not been able to fund education as they ought to. And if you're looking for money, let's cut down some of the wastefulness in government. Your president takes 48 days on vacation using $1.5 million, $11 million rice money cannot be accounted for. The road fund for RIA gone missing, $50,000 going to legislators, and you're asking for money as if we don't have it. Yes, we have the money, but there is wastefulness in the system, and government needs to address those monies that cannot be accounted for so that we can invest them in health and education to improve the well-being of the Liberian people. Your life expectancy in your country, Liberia, today is 63 years. 63 years is your life expectancy because of poor investment in healthcare.
Thank you. Jacobs.
Oh, look, quickly, my brother, is that Blake? The one you said Blake is your name?
It is Bala.
Okay. Bala said that you said a lot of things. One of those were there was teachers who were on supplementary payroll that actually came on payroll. That's positive. That's good. What's miscalculated is salary came from $18,000 to $125. $18,000 and $125 is the same thing. Okay, one is just in US and one is just in Liberian dollars, so there's no increment there. 18,000 is equivalent to $125. So, but that's a misinformation right there. But actually, yes, those teachers came on payroll. That's a positive. The other thing that was positive was the WEAH'S fees being paid by the government. It's good. Help parents, the WEAH'S fees paid. Declaration of colleges and universities free, government-run institutions. That's also positive. The question is, why grade 1 to 12 will be left to pay fees and colleges and university students are free? Is it because the colleges and university students can vote and grade 1 to 12 can't vote? Now, I was pleased with that in that situation as to I run the sector that had run grade 1 to 12. And we did the analysis on what it would cost to pay public schools, to have public school run with our students not even paying a dime. But then when the policy came out, the declaration was made for colleges and universities, people who can fend for themselves and work and earn, but they 1 to 12 allowed to pay. I mean, that's the irony on that. So those of you who propagating the positivity and the comments to the education, keep asking the policy people, the finance people, the other people who make the decision as to how they came to that declaration of free college and university and left public schools grade 1 to 12 to be paid. Y'all need to do good work on that process. That. So this is where these issues are. These are realities. It's not about politics for me. It's not, when it comes to the education portion, I lived it and I experienced it. So that's why, the frustration can come in sometimes and when people get the numbers mixed up. So you said a lot of truth. It's just that when you put out a push on their night, but the salaries and then a little bit, I get a little bit. Yeah, but pretty much you need to ask them again. Why grade 1 to 12 still paying and colleges and universities, the older guys who can work, why are they free? That's the question we need to ask ourselves.
Mrs. Ware, 1 minute, please. So, but I actually got support from somebody who's on the grounds in Liberia. So you say a lot of truth, Bala. You should be proud of yourself.
Well, you know what? For me, I think Idatus gave some numbers, realistic numbers, statistics here. He spoke with stats, and that's very important. What I can say in closing is that it's not enough to say we are doing well. The government is doing well in education. The government is doing very well in healthcare. When the average citizen of Liberia, when their daily living condition, whether education or health, cannot validate these numbers, then it leaves one to wonder, where are these numbers coming from? When the number of students, the number of kids, school-age children that are out of school, whose parents cannot afford to send them to school, and no public schools available in their communities. You have 60 to 75% of our school-going children out of school. That speaks volume. To me, it doesn't look like progress. It doesn't look like progress. So I would base my argument on a very unscientific polling at the community level. When you go to Liberia, it is sad. Parents are crying. Their kids can't go to school because the school fees are high at elementary level, primary and secondary level. And just like Adolph was asked, why is it that you free college education? You give free tuition to college students.
Thank you, Edith.
From kindergarten to 12th grade, they are left to pay fees. It speaks volume. I think it talks about politicizing everything. When we look at our education through political lens, we are not going to make the right decision for the citizens of our country. So it's not doing well.
My turn?
Yeah, your 1 minute.
All right, yeah, my 1 minute. There are two quick things. I really regret to see how much the pastor, the reverend, with the clergy, because I'm a clergy man myself, just in case you don't know. And the reverend kind of clearly does not understand where budgets originate from. They don't only originate in the executive branch. Budgets can also be originated in the legislative branch. Those things go back and forth. But quickly, that's neither here nor there. To my brother Adolphus, thank you so much for making those clarifications. But I want to correct something real quick. I think you're mistaking something. At the time when that happened, the exchange rate in Liberia was 200 Liberian dollars to $1. $18,000 at the time would have meant that the exchange rate was $144. So what actually happened was there was in fact an increase because the exchange rate was $200 or $125 at the time would have meant 25,000 Liberian dollars, not 18,000. So
what year are you talking about, sir?
Now,
what year?
Now,
at the time,
lastly,
what time?
It's on the website. Let's check it out. But lastly, I can tell you right now, folks, this has been an amazing conversation. My big sister, Sis Edith Gonglo, where owes me dry rest. Reverend, we got to get together. You know, I'm a clergy man myself. We got to pray for our president. We got to pray for the country. My brother Adolphus, I adore you, man. Thank you so much for your time tonight. My brother Randy Dapper, brother, we got something special, man. I thank you so much. Always love to see you. And my big brother, Mr. Ashford Garley, thanks for the opportunity, man, giving me the opportunity to come here and defend my president, the president of the Republic of Liberia. I love every Liberian watching tonight, and we're going to do this every Wednesday. I love it. I live for it. It's always an exciting time. Thank you so much, guys. God bless everybody.
With that, folks, that's all the time we have to be with you tonight.
I'll talk. What are you talking about?
You talk for 7 minutes.
I know I talk.
Yes, you talked earlier. You talked forever.
7 minutes.
It was going around.
No, Randy didn't say anything, man. Randy got to conclude.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. So, so the only thing I want to say here is the salary harmonization that came about. It was due to the fact that the income that Ellen used to receive went a little bit low. The question became whether we should lay off people or we should harmonize salary to keep people on the job. I thought that was a very fair decision that was made in regards to that. Secondly, as far as the question that Adolfo asked about the is very key. But yes, are some of the things the president has done. For example, revise and launch a national school curriculum. Maybe that was a cost, paying a WEAH'S fee for both private and public school. Maybe the money was funded into that area. And that could be something that needs to be reevaluated. And that is why I said the progress is to measure your destiny. But along the way, when you see deviations, you make adjustment. So that's a very valid question he asked. Because why would people in college should be paid for? Because at college level, you start taking responsibility. Because you will become a leader in the end. So Alpha, don't screw my time up. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much. Always good time to be here. And the panel was very good.
Well,
I did.
Bruce Roberts, what do you make of the exchanges tonight?
Awesome. It's very good to hear these great panelists discuss the issues in the country. I liked one of the questions that was asked about the budget, because based on the budget, that's what what's allocated to those sectors. And so our brother Randy wasn't able to even go to his document to tell us what was allocated for education or health care.
And you shut his hands on. I'm shocked that he couldn't go.
Well, he said he had the document, but because he couldn't share it, you can read it, and we can also prove.
I already shared it already. Like I said,
fact check you later
to discuss that.
Well, I already
fact checked it. Said when you talk about the progress and the positives, you must have tangibles, and have numbers. You can't just say, "Oh, we're doing well in this." Yes, I agree that it's good that he had built new hospitals and all that. However, what are you doing to what's there now? Okay, when you have something, you have to improve on what. When you're improving, you can't take 5 steps forward and move back 7 steps. So even though he has done some good things, but the one thing that I want to emphasize is the rampant corruption in every sector. Tomorrow's front page Africa states 20 million missing in the road fund. How do you measure success when constantly there's so many counts of corruption?
That's ready to be substantiated. Yeah.
I mean, we just wrap it
But
up.
I want to say thank you to you guys. Again, we enjoy listening
But
and hearing the facts.
initially, on this program, Randy said he was not a sedition. He was not supporting CDC and all that.
But the issue, that's true.
That's
true.
He must solve that.
That's true.
That's true. Yes,
No, but you keep saying we are.
Bala stated that he support the government. You didn't hear me say I support the government.
You've said more than that, sir.
No, I wouldn't discuss the issue.
What issue?
Okay, folks.
It's always good.
I even thought you were government official, self.
Clear and honest, yeah.
I'm being honest on the issue.
We know
I am being honest on the
brave
issue.
and bold and say it.
This is an independent mind discussion, but Liberians struggle because we have the pro and the against. So that's something that you have to learn, Managongo.
Randy, why you
thank
kept
you
this
guys.
statistics for the people?
We can go on and on, but because of time, we have to come.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
You just have to come
independent mind. I'm not going to take side. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Well, Mrs. Roberts, we can cover this tonight. Get ready. Tomorrow is a new program coming on by James Coyan. That's a James Coyan show. Then on Friday is the political soccer game. Sorry, we couldn't bring the game last Friday because I was a little under the weather. But we're looking forward to see the game this Friday, and I hope you plan to come to govern yourself along with the people who are going to defend us and stuff like that. Those who want to sell the kiss meat and all that good stuff. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Garley. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Be safe.
And that's right. That's what the program is about on Mondays and Wednesdays. You give the panel this chance to talk, and you just sit back and listen to them. Tonight we have some great exchanges tonight with our panelists. We want to thank them for coming. And folks, as always, that's all the time I have to be with you. Well, Father God, we give you praise, we give you honor. We thank you for protecting the program tonight. And it was peaceful and unity in the room. Some disagree to agree, but hey, all we can do is just magnify your name for giving us strength and divine wisdom to be here on a nightly basis. And to you alone take all the glory. In the name of Jesus, we're giving thanks. And folks, until we talk to you on Friday night, this has been yours truly, the medicine of the microphone, the golden voice of Liberia, the mastermind, the doctor of love, Africa's media, do extraordinaire, the brother who doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. Just took by your kids, Ashford the giant, and now you know me, Garley. Mr. Bobby Wiles, thank you so much for being there for us all the time. Ruben Iden, Yumi Throw Krenga, Charlene Dumba, V. Wisse, Nancy Jordan, Joe Manjala, Sapphire. Good night, folks. We'll see you some other time. Thank you so much.